Hi, it's Mikey Leung of Digital Storytellers. We're very fortunate to be sitting here at the social marketplace with the convener of the event, Sandy Blackburn-Wright. Sandy, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Tell us how the social marketplace came to be.
So the social marketplace came into existence because one of the things that Andrew Young wanted to do through CSI was to create events that built capacity and created systems change and not just knowledge transfer through a normal conference. So he kind of put it out there and said to me, okay, go and design for that. And what we really needed in this context is for the market to practice, because an impact investment market doesn't yet exist in Australia and it's only starting to emerge overseas and we're a little bit behind. And what we know from every other field of endeavour is that you get better when you practice. So we needed to create an environment along with all the conference type inputs and insights where people could come out and practice being an investor, practice being an enterprise that needs investment in, practice taking a product to retail investors, not just institutional investors, and do it in an environment that's safe, where everybody's learning.
Great. How innovative to put that together. What does that mean? What are we seeing here now? Tell us, narrate what we're seeing in front of us here at the event.
So we're seeing a surprisingly wide spectrum. I think a lot of people, when they heard we were going to do this, thought it would be a handful of enterprises, all the usual suspects, and everyone would know everyone in the room. But we wanted to make sure we had established enterprises. We reached out to Indigenous enterprises. We also went to startups, we looked at creatives, we looked at environmental, and we brought the products into the room. So that's both the SEDF type funds, but also some other innovative products that are being developed. And we put it all into the one marketplace so everyone could see a real cross-section and things that they haven't seen before. And I think that's been the surprising thing for everyone, is they're seeing things they just weren't expecting and they thought they knew it quite well, myself included. So it's been a delight.
You've brought a great crowd of speakers together for this event as well, and who have already quite a deep experience in trying to drive forward impact investment in a nascent sector, as you say it is here in Australia. Tell us about the speakers you brought together for the event.
The speakers are a real mix. So if this market's ever going to emerge, and we believe it will, which is why we spend so much time on it, we need people who are traditional corporate financial services type people who understand this work but bring all those disciplines with them. And then you also need people who are philanthropically minded and want to become social investors. You need the young entrepreneurs, you need the social enterprises, you need the not-for-profits that are doing the capacity building and the support work. So you need to bring them all together. And if you miss any one part of the market, then it doesn't make sense. So they all have to be there. And the fortunate thing for me in my career is I've worked in all those areas. And so I thankfully have the networks to draw on to get these fantastic people in the room. So as I said to them all at the speakers dinner last night, I just phoned them all up and lent on them and they all said yes. So we're extraordinarily lucky to have them all here.
And you've also brought together a huge group of social enterprises here. I believe we have 29 different groups, some of which are impact investment products, and 24 or 25 social enterprises here. Tell us about that process coming together.
Well, we put it out there. So we partnered up with a number of organisations and who work with social enterprises, and we asked them to put it out to their networks. And then we also contacted them directly. We did some social media things, we did some blogging, we spoke to people, we got out there. And the people who responded, some of them we knew, but there was wonderful ones that we hadn't met before, including the Empowering Community guys from Cambodia. So they just came in cold. So there's a whole bunch of, also some of the Indigenous ones we haven't heard of before, and they also came in cold, and it's delightful to see all these new people who they wanted to connect up and find a network that's going to help them, and this is serving their needs as well as helping us to see who else is out there. So we just put it out there to all the networks we knew of, and then this is what happened.
So there was a big capacity building element to this process that was supposed to enable the social enterprise before they came here today. Tell us about how that process went.
So as I said earlier, Andrew Young had said he wanted this to be about capacity building and systems change, not just knowledge transfer. But we didn't want that to happen just over these 2 days. We really wanted to work with particularly the social enterprises in the lead up to the event so that when they got here, they would be ready to put their best foot forward. And that involved a couple of things, but particularly it involved financial education. So that's why we went to the Davison Institute and asked them to help us with the financial piece so that we can help people think about being investment ready, but how do they talk to investors about their financials? What kind of questions would an investor have so that they understood the language, they were prepared and had thought through all the implications of any question that may come. So that was a piece of work, and combined in that was the investor handbook. So all of the work we'd done on preparing them ultimately culminated in the investor handbook being prepared. And one of the best bits of the day thus far is the people who've done these type of investor handbooks in the past for a commercial setting coming up to me and saying, I know what kind of hard work that is, and it usually takes about 18 months to pull something like that together. How did you do it in a week? So how we did it is we didn't really sleep, and it was horrible, but we did it. And we corralled all these cats who were going in different directions and got this product. And it's amazing the feedback we've got about the quality of the investment handbook itself. So even that I'm just thrilled to bits about.
What's that going to do for enterprises that have gone through that process? Well, where is it supposed to put them or land them at the end of all of this?
I think they will be so much more articulate in talking to whether it's a bank, whether it's a social investor, whoever it might be, someone who's generally interested in what they're doing. They're going to come across as far more commercial, far more business savvy, and answer questions in a way they wouldn't have been able to before. So they've got 2 days to cut their teeth on that kind of questioning and engagement, but they will present much more strongly, I think, to people in future. So it's a real opportunity that doesn't come along every day, where you can spend 2 days just practicing talking about your business and being as articulate as possible.
Fantastic. And for the other side, the big end of town, who's come here to see what the range of enterprises are, what feeling do you think they'll be left with coming out of this event?
I think they may be surprised at the diversity that is out there, because if we were, I think they would be. And so often the bigger end of town investors say, oh, I'm really like a super fund, or whoever it might be, a large bank, say, oh, we'd be really interested to invest, but there's nothing out there. There is nothing to invest in. And that's not exactly true. But that's one of the reasons we wanted to bring the products and the funds into this, to say, yes, there are enterprises, and they may be small for the moment, but they're looking to scale. But there are also all sorts of really interesting impact investment products. So you can go down the product line if you want, you can go and work with a particular enterprise, but there is more diversity than you would think. So that's what we're hoping that they'll get out of it. And also to build relationships with some of the ones that really resonate with them today. So it may be the area of impact, it may be the entrepreneur specifically, but we hope that they'll build some connections they'd like to pursue after the event.
Okay, great. My last question is really about the $10,000 that you've got in your pocket. We're asking everybody this. Do you have any favorites or leading horses in the race that you've seen so far?
I do. Yeah, there's a few enterprises I liked. Before we got to this point, and when I thought I knew who was coming, I thought, oh, that's easy. I know them all so well, so I know exactly which ones I want to put into. And then in the last 2 months, when the playing field widened, and I was looking at the diversity thinking, now I don't know. Now I don't know who to invest in. But I think on the day, I'm really impressed with people that have ambition. So I probably fall into the big camp. So build an enterprise of scale. And so I really like what Levi's doing with his rail force. So entering the mining area with what he plans to be quite a large Indigenous play. So I love the courage and the guts of that, to say I'm going to build a massive business which is going to play in that field. And he's already talking to BHP. So he's not kidding. You know, when he says he's going big, he's going big. And so I respect that. So I've actually already given him some money.
Fantastic. So what do you see coming as the long, the future? What's the future? Look into the future a little bit and tell us what you see there as a result of this event.
The future is enterprises feeling more confident that they can engage with investors, thinking more clearly about what their business needs are in future and what new investment could enable them to grow and how that would happen. But I'm really interested in retail investment. So whilst you can have institutional investors in the bigger end of town and the uber wealthy investing in these various things, I would really like to see where we get to a point where you and I can invest $100, $1,000, things like that, in similar products on a retail type of platform. And so where everyone, no matter who they are or where they are in their life situation, can invest a little bit, get it returned and reinvest, get it returned and reinvest. because I think that people would really enjoy that. So I'm hoping this is the beginning of creating that kind of platform in Australia and in the region.
Sandy, thanks so much for your time here
That's a
today.
pleasure.
And thank you so much for putting this event together for us.
That's a pleasure. Thanks, Mikey.